Two of my biggest inspirations when starting out this channel were Casey Neistat and Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary especially really spoke to me as a struggling actor. In one of his keynote talks, he pulls out his cell phone and he says something to the effect of, "This is the solution to all of your problems." In that moment, I was actually kind of reminded of Leo in The Wolf of Wall Street, where he says,
"I want you to deal with your problems by becoming rich."
This is actually a sentiment that I still very much like. I often have thought I'm gonna deal with my problems just by making more money. And I think working hard is a good thing. If I don't work hard on any given day, I literally have minutes before I start to feel depressed. And now there's this new movement of the anti-hustle culture, which I gotta be honest, I find repulsive, okay? Because hard work, it's very joyous. It's a good thing in my opinion. There's been an overcorrection. I do think there's problems on both sides. And in this video, I wanna address both sides, the hustlers and the anti-hustle movement. First, let's talk about Gary Vaynerchuk. Okay, I can't hate on the guy too much because 2 years ago, I used his name to get like 2 million views on a video I made in 90 minutes. So I do owe him that, thank you, Gary. But to me, he is the perfect example of unfocused energy. Watching a Gary Vaynerchuk video for me now, it would be like if someone forced me to drink like 5 cups of coffee, and then in my heart palpitations and sheer delirium, I just would not get anything done. That's what Gary Vaynerchuk feels like to me. It's just like so much coming at you, and it's all so unfocused that you don't know what to make of it. In fact, so often I've just been watching his videos and I'm like, Gary, why are you walking around so much? Like, why are you going from here to there? Who are you talking to? What is the point of all this? Is it too mean to say that he killed his channel by uploading way too much random stuff? In fact, a lot of these guys, Grant Cardone, Gary, London Real, they all used to make pretty cool content. And now they just blast you with so much random noise that it turns you off to the whole channel altogether. Gary's vlogs used to be so cool. They were aesthetic. There was a sense of a storytelling arc of like 3 acts within each video. And now it just seems like he uploads whatever. I think Gary V is the perfect example of hustle culture taken too far. In fact, in one of his videos, I remember Gary V said that he's afraid of meditation. He like actively chooses not to meditate because he's worried it would strip away his personality. He likes the sort of mania he has, but this doesn't surprise me at all because he's just so mentally dispersed. Granted, I don't know what he's like as a CEO. Maybe he's a really, really effective CEO, but as a content creator, I think he's unwatchable at this point. Back in the day when I was a huge fan of Gary Vee and Grant Cardone, I would watch all these guys who would advocate the hustle mentality. That was my peak of doing things like email blasting Hollywood agents trying to get representation, sending postcards to casting directors. If I was gonna apply for a job, I wouldn't just like think about what job makes sense or what skills I need to acquire. I would just apply for like 150 jobs, send out cover letters to everyone. There was no focus, and when you don't have focus, the results, of course, are gonna be garbage. And that's what happened to me. I had committed to all of this motion, but none of this was actually productive action. It wasn't directed. Essentially, I got nothing done. If I would have slowed down and actually thought about my strategy, I could have come up with a plan that made sense. I could have thought to myself, why am I trying to email all of these agents when I have nothing to offer them? Now, when I get emails from people cold emailing me, basically someone wants to get something out of you, for some reason it feels like everyone wants a 15-minute meeting with you. It's like, I don't like that at all. I just delete these emails. So on the giving end of that, why should I have ever thought that all of my email blasting and cold emails would have led to anything? I should have strategized better. I should have stopped being so hustle focused and thought instead about how I could actually achieve what I wanted. It's like going to the gym without being on any training program, okay? And just going to the gym and telling yourself you're hustling at the gym. So you do every single exercise at different reps, just running through a random amount of stuff. And just as you start getting into your bicep curls, you switch to squats, just alternating between different exercises, feeling really productive, and then ultimately not making any gains. You might feel like you got a lot of work done, but ultimately you're not gonna get any gains. Not everything has to be hard. I've been on a real Greg McKeown kick lately, and I've been reading his book, Effortless. And one of the points that really stuck out to me is that not everything needs to be that hard. We sometimes have adopted this mentality that if something feels hard, we must be doing the right thing. And if something feels easy, it's probably trivial. This isn't necessarily true. This is like a fallacy that has been given to us by our Puritan ancestors. Just because something is hard or feels painful to do doesn't mean it's the right action, and vice versa. Instead of trying to get better results by pushing even harder, we can just figure out what are the most essential activities and then just get those done. Sometimes the essential activity will feel hard and you have to exercise discipline to get it done. And sometimes, a lot of times when things are going well, that essential activity actually feels good. It feels at times effortless. But those times where we feel like things are too easy, we're not working hard, some of us can feel lazy, we feel like we're gonna fall behind, we feel guilty for not going that extra mile. But achieving our goals efficiently isn't unambitious, it's smart. Now someone like Gary Vee to this, he'd say, well, I work smart and I work hard. Now what, dick? I actually remember him saying that in an interview and I found it really funny at the time. But you know, there's only so many hours in the day, and if I sacrifice sleep or working out to hustle harder, to grind more, then eventually my hustle is not gonna be effective. Going back to that email blasting agent example, I could have just spent those 3 years staying in Minnesota and saving up money, working on an actor's demo reel from here. You gotta play this game with fear and arrogance.
Fear and ignorance.
And in my spare time, like working on a side income source. If you're a very successful actor in LA, let's say you're a principal character in a big TV show, you're still only working like 2 to 4 months out of the year. You're on a set 2 to 4 months out of the year. And now the rest of the year, maybe you're auditioning, but you know, as someone who's been there and done it, at most you only get like 3 auditions a week. Now that's the upper end, that's for like the successful people. Sometimes you go months without getting an audition. Most people in that industry do have plenty of time on their hands, and they could be using that time tactically. In Eastern philosophy, there's this concept of wu wei, which just means action without action, working without working. And it's eerie how radical my progress has been when I felt myself a handful of times in my life working in this way. I remember one time, like almost 3 years ago, I had a particularly fantastic meditation. And immediately as I emerged out of that meditation, I had this insight that I wanted to make a video on stoicism, the power of indifference to obstacles. It just occurred to me after that. And I wrote this script so effortlessly in like 45 minutes, immediately recorded the video straight after. I edited the video and then I uploaded it the same day. Something that I definitely would not be able to do today. And it was one of my highest performing videos, even to this day. And it was very easy to make. I mean, it was the same day turnaround, just a couple of hours. It was like one of the most productive Saturdays of my life making that video. I can't help but get a little spiritual when I have experiences like this, because I just end up thinking, wow, actually slowing down and coming into a little bit of stillness. It's almost as if I was blessed by the muse because I chose to slow down and come into stillness. You might have heard of this concept of diminishing returns. For instance, if I'm writing is one of my biggest, most essential activities. If I'm writing for 2 hours, I might produce 2 pages. And if I push myself, I'm gonna write for 4 hours today, I might produce just 3 pages. You know, the more time I spend on it, up to a point it's really good, and then it starts to give me diminishing returns. My rate of output is slowing down. More effort at this point should be questioned, but sometimes overachievers double down on the effort. They see the reduced output and they mistakenly think that the answer is to push even harder. You know, my YouTube views are down, I should just triple the number of uploads I do. I'm pretty sure that would be bad. The effect of this is that it sabotages our performance. The message here is to figure out what the essentials are and then work on them every day, but don't overdo it on any given day. A great metaphor for this is like watering plants. You know, if you have a plant, you have to water it. But if one day you decide, you tell yourself, I'm like a hard worker, I'm a hustler, I'm gonna water these plants 19 times today. I'm gonna freaking drown these plants in water, get some. You're gonna kill your plant, okay? You're not working hard, you're just being stupid. The hard work comes by regularly showing up when needed and just watering the plant the appropriate amount. Be patient, recover, put in the appropriate amount of effort each day, but don't overdo it on any days. Still work hard, but don't overdo it. And now this is where I briefly want to address the anti-hustle culture folks, because not all, but some have underemphasized or like vilified hard work. The fact is, sometimes things do get out of balance. When I was working a day job and still trying to grow this channel, I had some sleepless nights. There was a lot in my life that was out of balance. And it was out of balance for like 2 years. I don't think I would have been able to arrive at this point had I not had those years out of balance. You know, I didn't have the privilege I do now. It was a necessary part of my journey to work extra hard on certain things to build up like a financial base for myself, and as a result to live a better life now. So sometimes hard work and things being out of balance, that actually is the right path forward, you know? I reaped significant results because things were out of balance for a while. Even Tim Ferriss, who's like the poster child of work smarter, not harder, actually still works pretty hard. I don't think you can get to 100 million downloads on your podcast without a lot of intentional hard work. But the key word here is intentional. If you do things like research, strategize, get coaching from the right people, you can actually engage in actions that will produce results. Not everything needs to go the extra mile. In his book, Greg McKeown talks about his best friend and how when they were growing up, his friend consistently got better grades than Greg. And his secret for his success in academics was that he did what the teacher told him to do and nothing more. He never went the extra mile. So if the teacher said do this assignment, he would only do it to that amount. He just did very good on each assignment and he didn't miss assignments. Greg McKeown, on the other hand, he would actually get like very into certain topics, certain projects that they had to do, and he would over-research, he would go into rabbit holes. But as a result, he would overexert himself so much on certain projects that he would like miss a subsequent assignment. And so his grades would not be as good. There's rarely a need to go that second mile if you've hit what's essential. This is something that I've had to relearn over the years. It's better to go just that first mile and then not miss the next time you have to run than to not get that second run in, you know? I would often feel this way about videos, thinking that we need to get B-roll. B-roll was like my freaking god. I was like, we're gonna have the best B-roll on this channel. And there would be times where there'd be like a big snowstorm in Minnesota, and we'd be like in negative 10-degree weather, just running around, getting 3 seconds of a shot. And I look back on those days and I think to myself, like, why were we grinding so hard on this thing that's not gonna make a difference in views? It's gonna be like 3 seconds for the viewer. It's not gonna be that impactful. It didn't even make me that much happier. I could have actually spent all of that extra energy just making sure I had something worthy of saying and leaving it there. If you have things that are worth sharing, it's good enough, you know? That covers you 95% of the way. I could have spent that time dialing in the edit, making sure all the songs were correct. I mean, I could have spent that time on Artlist, which is the sponsor of today's video. Artlist is an incredible music catalog that makes it easy and simple to find songs that fit the vibe of your video exactly. With a subscription to Artlist, you will get unlimited downloads of songs with new music being added to their library every day. Everything in the Artlist catalog is super high quality, and they're fair to all musicians that they have in their catalog. The right music makes a huge difference in the perceived quality of an edit. So if you're a YouTuber yourself, oftentimes the copyright-free music you'll come across, the best word I can say for it is cringy. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like it gives off a good energy in an edit. But with Artlist, there's so many songs that just immediately elevate our videos. The personal plan covers all your own social channels for only $9.99 per month. This license covers YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, podcasts, and even TikTok. So stop breaking the bank on purchasing individual songs and get as many as you want for one flat fee by subscribing to Artlist now. If you use the link in my description to sign up for Artlist, you'll get 2 extra months free added to your subscription. Thank you, Artlist, for sponsoring this video. All in all, I'm still a huge believer in hard work. It's not only one of my values, but one of my joys. I truly find happiness in working hard. But I've had enough of hustling for the sake of hustling. The future entails hustling, but with intention and focus. And for those of us willing to do so, greatness is coming. See you in the next one. If you have a plant, you have to... Good job.
That's all spit.
Yeah, a little spit.